Town. Here we go. Okay, so we did a couple things. You feel free to stop the video and watch these examples. But I did some bell work where we squared both sides on 38 to solve. And then hopefully you can follow my work from there. I'm not going to make third hour go through all this again. Then we did a simplify and another simplify with the conjugate idea. So feel free to stop and look at those. And then I also, before we get into the notes, went over our class kick, and I pulled out some student work here of what it should look like. Again, stop the YouTube video. Oh, this is a monster. And I did explain this one. Both these answers at the end are good. So this is how we would have done number 3, not covering it again. Here's number 4's great work. Hey, if this is your work too, you can show your YouTube video to your parents or guardians. Hey, look, I made YouTube. That's my writing. All right, graphing. Oh, I lamented how many people are struggling with graphing. Input, output. All right, know how to do it and get it figured out. There's no excuses at this point. Simple evaluations. Okay, again, you can look at that great work. And then I highlighted some great work on this student and that extra checking off to the side. All right, so good. Hide this. Now we're going to get into the notes. Whoa, boy, that really spun fast. All right, so then I told you on the calendar, and go ahead and start writing this down. Boy, try to paraphrase. Boy, that's a really long situation. But on the calendar, I put 2 things. One was a small assignment about these word problems. And then the other assignment was our book review, which does a pretty decent job to get you ready for our little quiz on Monday. So we say the word problems for this little section at the end. Actually, we've done a lot so far already. So it's been a pretty good day, I hope, if you're paying attention. Again, you're you. Lead a horse to water, but I can't make him drink. Well, my little tag phrases stolen over the years. So there is a ton of equations out in the real world that mirror the real world. I'm thinking off the top of my head, one of the assignment questions has a formula that compares the length of a rubber strip in a road from a tire compared to, how long it takes for it to stop. And from that, we could guess how fast that vehicle was going when it hit the brakes. And then it makes me think of a show that I actually love, which is called Forensic Files. Anyone ever hear that show? Raise your hand. Forensic Files. Oh my gosh. If you haven't seen those are amazing. Most of the things happened in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, but they really, again, Mary, they really, show where our technology has come from and where DNA testing and all this stuff. But there's one that there's an accident in the road, and they actually do, through looking at the tire marks in the road, figure out what actually happened in this scenario. So anyway, math is all over the place, right? So back to this one. This is a silly little formula. A suspension cable from the Golden Gate Bridge towers are farther above the roadway near the towers. See the picture there? And then closer to the roadway near the middle of the bridge. So neat little engineering thing there. You can figure out your distance from the middle of the bridge, X, in feet, and the height of the suspension cable, Y, in feet, at your position using this formula. About how far is the cable from the roadway when you are 200 feet from the middle of the bridge? Now I'm getting my helper here. 17. John, nice. Play the lottery today. You got picked again. John, I'm going to move this over here. And all I need to tell you to tell me, if you were listening to my melodious voice reading this question, where does 200 get plugged in for? What variable? You are correct. So, John, this is your job and everyone else's. Dang it. My screen's moving all over the place here. 200 gets replaced for X. And then what is going on? It keeps jumping on me here. I'm going to have to solve for what? Oh my gosh. I don't know why this is happening. My fingers are activating the screen more than ever. Oh my gosh. I think the computer's been taken over by a ghost. What am I going to have to solve for? John, what's going on in your house? All right. Okay. She yelling at you? Okay. All right. What are we going to have to solve for? Starts with a W. Y. There we go. All right. Go ahead and turn off your mic. 7. Genevieve. What am I going to have to do first to solve for Y? Now that we got that 200 plugged in. And I'll get my calculator out as long as you tell me what to do. Genevieve, where are you? Turn on that mic. There you go. What are you going to do first to solve for Y? Okay, we got something that's not in the square root. So what are we going to do about that? By what? That ugly, the denominator, yep, the ugly decimal. I went ahead and did that. What are you going to do next? Square both sides. So this is just silly little questions. Can you do, I'll go ahead and do that, squared 4 point, I'm going to write this all out. 4.47. No, I'm not. 99999. It just keeps going. And then what are you going to do last? And then that becomes, well, that's easy. 224 point, let's go ahead and round at this point, 48 feet high. So when we are 200 feet, I'm not sure where that is. Let's just pretend that's 200 feet. Then this cable will be 224 point, and it is a very tall set of cables there. So that would be the representation of this graphically, like how we would look at that comparative to the question. Okay, 200 feet from the middle, you're 224 high on that thing there. So silly little equation for that. Okay, we only have 2 more. And believe it or not, I'm going to leave you alone. Okay, next one. The speed v of a vehicle in relation to its stopping distance d. I think this really depends on the vehicle and the brakes that they have. Some brakes better than others, but I'm sure all vehicles have to be within some sort of range. So the bigger the car, the bigger the brakes, or the stronger the brakes because of the weights and the force involved. Is represented by this equation. So v is the velocity, d is the distance. Determine the equation for stopping distance in terms of vehicle speed. Let's put somebody on the spot here, awaken their brain, terrify them. No, but we do like to activate those brains instead of just sitting there. Peyton Norton, what does that mean we're going to do, Peyton? Or Peyton, what stopping distance? What variable? And then what's vehicle speed? What variable? This sentence means I want D equals. This is a science thing. Science teachers often ask, hey, let's rewrite this equation in terms of the other variable. So what do I do first then, knowing that's the case, Peyton? What do you think you're going to do to solve for D? What would be the... So, well, I think you got to do something different first. How do you get D by itself? What's the first thing that you would do? Say that one more time. Not yet. What am I going to do about that 3.57? Divide it. So we get the square root of D equals V over 3.57. Then what are you going to do? Then you square it. And then you get your calculator out. And 3.57 squared is, this ain't no thing, chicken wings. 12.7449. Let's just say 12. Well, let's write the whole thing. 12.7449, just to be super accurate. Okay, now we got the distance in terms of the velocity. So that's what the distance would be for your stopping power. Okay, Not quite the same as the strip on the road, the rubber streak. And that is a question in your book that's I kind of like. And then this last one. All right. Ooh, look at that girl blowing her nose. COVID. All right. So go ahead and read that real quick. And you're dang right. Pharmacists and doctors deal with math and all the time with these formulas as far as how much a drug a person should take depending on their height and weight. So that's what this is. Body surface area, BSA, of a human being is used to determine doses of medication. Absolutely. Formula for BSA is blah, where H is the height in centimeters, M is the mass in kilograms. Doctor calculates a particular dose of medicine for the patient whose BSA is less than 1.9. If the patient is 160 centimeters tall, what must the mass of the person be for the dose to be appropriate? Okay, here we go. It's another fill-in. That's the next thing I'm going to ask. I hit enter. Come on. 24. Nice. I feel like that's new. Kayla Shea. Okay. So where does 1.9 go in for? After my melodious reading. Oh no. Oh no. So there's only one thing left. BSA. So it's 1.9. Now, is less than BSA is less than 1.9. We need to put that as a less than instead of an equal sign. Okay, then what does 160 go in for, Kayla? It is H. So we have 160 here. And then M is what's left over. What are you going to do next, Kayla? And then I'll let you off the hook. It is already square rooted. You said square root both sides. I'm going to square root again? Well, nope. How do you get rid of a square root? You're getting confused. You're confusing yourself. What is the opposite operation of square rooting? Square. You're just saying too much. When you say square root, that's a square root sign. Just square. Okay, so you're just squaring both sides. All right. Oh, I should know 1.9 squared. It's terrible. I'm embarrassed. 3.61. I didn't know 19 squared was 361. 20 squared is 400. I know that. Now we could have done this, but we don't have to. But let's get somebody else here and finish this off because you did a lot. You did 3 things there. 17, last person. John, it's your lucky day, right? John, what do you do next? And get a decimal? Well, you could. I'm gonna math frac. I remember this from last hour though. I think it's 2 over 45. Still, what do I do next? Now we get a big fat M up at the top there. How do we solve for M? 2 times M? M divided by 45. Undo operations. How do you get rid of divide? Don't look at your notes. It has nothing to do with the notes. How do you get rid of dividing by 45? What's the opposite operation? We got to get this moving here. What's the opposite of so multiply both sides by 45. And then what do you do about the 2? 2 times M. What's the opposite operation of that? So 3.61. Divide. Nope, you overdid it. It's just divide by 2. Okay, so you're getting yourself locked up here. All right, you just divide by 2. Gotta stand up to the plate, man, and take the pressure, take the heat. Divided by 2, which is 81.225 kilograms. So you have to be at least 81.225 or greater to have less than 1.9 given to you as a drug for this particular scenario. I think we're done. Yes. So that was that book thing that I put here in the calendar. So yeah. So just understand that those word problems, that's all you have to do is figure out what goes where. And then, go ahead and resolve the scenario. So one more time, showing the calendar. That I have highlighted there is those word problems. That I have highlighted right there is the review to get you ready for the quiz. That is Monday. All right. I'm going to end the video right now. Don't go anywhere yet.